To give you all a little synopsis of what was going on, the first victim came forward, a 2-year-old male, and said he was sexually assaulted by our suspect. The case was given in February of this year, and he was subsequently arrested in March of this year after confessing during an interview with the investigator. At this time, if you have any questions as far as the case itself, we open to any of y'all.
So a 2-year-old coming forward, that's unusual
Yes.
at that age to
Very true.
be able to articulate this. Can you elaborate on that one more?
Well, during the forensic interview, they were able to articulate what had happened to them, but that also led to the outcry of a second victim, an older victim that was 7 years old, that was able to give us a better description of what happened to them on multiple occasions.
And has this pastor worked at multiple churches?
This is the only church he has worked at, but the reason we're asking for help is that he had lived in several different apartment complexes on the west side of Houston, where he would have access to families and children as he lived there. He moved to Houston in 1990 and has been here ever since, working, volunteering originally at the church as a volunteer deacon and then getting ordained in 2003.
Does he have any history of this in the previous cities he's lived in?
Yes, we were able to find an arrest for a similar offense in California in 1988, but he is not on the registered sex offender list.
Why not?
Depending on what was going on in 1988 in California with their laws and how everything went, he was not actually registered, but we were able to find the actual arrest for the similar charge. But back then, I don't know how their court system worked or if that was a part of it or if he had a really good lawyer that helped him out and got him out of it, but he was not on the registered sex offender
Do
list.
you know the age of the victim in that case?
It was also a young child, under the age of 7.
A young boy?
Another incident, there was one boy and another girl in 2 different states.
Oh, so other than California, what was the other state?
Yes, Oregon.
Oregon. And that was the convictions?
There was a boy and a girl in each one that he confessed to. We're still trying to look into it because there's not many records of what was going on back in the 80s in either of those states.
And was he convicted in those cases?
In the one in California, yes. The one in Oregon, we cannot find a conviction.
Did the church do a background check on him?
To our knowledge, no. We did not know that, but he was a volunteer member of the church the entire time leading up to him. One thing I do want to make clear is that the evil person here is this suspect. His main point of everything he did was to gain the trust of the people of that community, to gain the trust of the people that worked at the church before anything happened. This is a long-standing thing of grooming that he had been doing with these children, and not just with the children, but with the parents of the community, gaining their trust and everything else before anything actually happened to the children.
What was his role at this church?
He was a deacon.
We've heard about the youth ministry, talking about grooming.
It's very-
Did he have a lot of contact
Yes.
with children?
Yes, he did. He had contact with the children. He had keys to the actual church itself where he was able to isolate the children after a certain amount of time, but he also went on camping trips with kids. I mean, he was a full member of the church community.
Do you think so you feel that there could be more victims? Is that
Yes.
what you're coming forward talking
Yes,
about today?
we are here today because we think there are more. The church itself has actually stepped up beyond belief and helped us with our investigation, as well as reached out to members of the community to see if they can help out with services and also to identify more victims. But knowing that he has been in our community for 30 years and it's just now coming out, and we have allegations from the 80s that the entire time he lived at apartment complexes, the same trust that he got the members of the church, he could have gotten from members of his apartment complex.
This is a nightmare scenario for parents, obviously, but also
Very.
for the church. People I'm asking on the name of the church and the name of this pastor, people want to know, do they even know this guy?
Well, the pastor, or we're not announcing this time, but it's the West Houston Seventh-day Adventist Church on the Beltway, West Sam Houston Parkway.
And suspect's names?
Is Barry Durrell. And there should be a picture also that was sent out to y'all that we can hopefully get out there to see him.
When you say his main point of everything he did, I mean, these are pretty bold
Yeah.
words. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, I mean, this was what he was thinking in the morning when he woke up. Like,
Yes.
This was his day. He was focused on kind of
In-
luring these kids.
In
like,
multiple
how-
locations and multiple everything, his main point of emphasis was gaining trust. These weren't random children. These weren't people on the side of the street that he didn't know. He spent time grooming them. He spent time grooming not just the children, but the families. The families trusted him. It wasn't just about the child. And because of that type of pattern, we believe that it could have happened at apartment complexes, it could have happened at parks, it could have happened anywhere else in his long history of being here in the community.
Do you think mainly it's young boys or girls? I mean,
Yes,
girls.
from everything we've gathered so far, it'll be boys or girls under the age of 10.
This is actually a typical MO for these guys, isn't it, to get in positions of trust around children, and what is the message to parents?
Exactly. The one thing that we want to make sure we address as a special victims division from HPD is to hopefully get parents engaged in the conversation with their children. You are the #1 resource to everything that we have. Having the wherewithal to have that tough conversation with your children, and even at a young age, being able to talk to them about what's going on in their lives and letting them have that open line of communication with you and with anybody else where they feel safe enough to talk about what is going on with them.
Earlier you said the articulation of the 2-year-old led to an outcry of the 7. That's making me wonder, are the 2 victims related?
That only relate, not actual blood relation, but they're related through the community of the church.
Where did it happen, the actual assault?
Some at the actual church, and then at other various locations across the city of Houston.
During like Sunday school?
No, it was,
service happening, or what?
some of the other locations were because he was a trusted member of the family and the community, he would be out during the day and the weekend with the family. So different locations as far as restaurants and mall, any other public places, it would happen there as well.
So he would be doing things, like, because one of these locations I saw in the press release, it's Memorial City Mall. So like, would he be out with the family?
Yes.
Go to the bathroom with the kid or something? Is that basically what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what's his status now?
Right now, he is currently in the Harris County Jail on both counts, one count of super aggravated sexual assault of a child, and then another of continuous sexual abuse of a child, both with a $100,000 bond. And he is currently under the age of 6 for the victim.
What is that like for you investigating something like this?
Well, it scares me as a dad and as a member of the community. Something like this scares you, but that's why we do this, and that's why we have detectives up there that work diligently on these types of cases, because these are the most vile people in our society.
Just to be clear real quick, the California incident happened in 1998?
88.
88,
Yes.
and then what year was the Oregon?
That one we're still clear on because that information came directly from him. So we're trying to research it back to find it, but he is the one that admitted that to us during the interrogation.
And so was that a boy or a girl? Do you know?
He said he was going back and forth between California and Oregon, so we're still trying to verify which one was the boy and which one was the girl, but he did say that there was a boy and a girl, and he said California and Oregon.
When you say you confessed to the crimes there, you went into detail, like what did he say about
Yes.
those?
We were not going to go into too much detail about what it was, but in every instance, it was him performing oral sex on the victim.
Yeah.
Was he a deacon there?
Not that we have a record of.
Are you
Is that the
investigating
same?
as well in for any evidence of child pornography or?
Not at this time. We have no indication. Well, we have no indication that any computers or pictures or anything electronic was used in any of the commission of these crimes. So at this point, no, we're not looking for child porn.
Was the nature of the abuse the same here in Houston?
I'm sorry?
The nature of the abuse that
Yes, they were the exact same, and even to his own acknowledgement.
So here in Houston, only 2 victims or just one?
So far, we have multiple. We're not going to give out the total number, but there are multiple. It's more than one.
For how long have you been working at the church?
He's been there since the mid-'90s. He's been here in Houston since 1990. He's been ordained as a deacon with that church in 2003.
Can you say more than 10 locally, less than 10?
At this point, it's less than 10, but we are looking for more. We believe doing this as long as we have that there are more victims out there, and that's why we need your help.
Are you guys investigating other deacons or the pastor of the church to see if any of them had any type of knowledge about this?
Well, I mean, we've taken statements and talked to everybody there, but at this point, we're trying to focus on and let everybody know that he is the bad guy.
So there's no one else that could
No.
be doing this at this church?
We don't have any indication of that, and like I said, they fully cooperate with our investigation with open arms and open doors to let us do whatever we needed to. They provided things for the actual members of the community, encouraging them to step forward and talk to their children and talk to everybody else, so they're doing everything that they can to support us and the community there.
So you said that he admitted to this in March?
Yes.
Why is he just not being charged?
No, he was charged in
He was
March.
charged in
He was
March.
charged and arrested in March.
Okay.
We're just starting to piece together some of the stuff when he told us that in March, trying to piece together that history and see how it all happened. Just trying to put a puzzle
How
together.
did you guys find out about him? It's just from these 2 victims?
Yeah, police reports. When parents were actually able to talk to their kids and realize something was wrong and made a police report. And then everything was conducted at the Children's Assessment Center, and that staff did an amazing job to facilitate helping us with our investigation.
Any other questions?
Are read something somewhere, an incident occurred last May.
The first one, that's when it first came out, but because of what things we said about articulating with the 2-year-old, it got delayed until we could get the true details of what actually happened.
And the other states, was he actually charged there?
From what we could tell, we found a charge in California.
That charge in California?
It was different terminology that we use here. I think it was oral copulation of a minor back in 1988. But to that point, it's just the consistency of the statements that we believe that it wouldn't have stopped over a 20-year period and picked right back up again.
The fact that he's not on the list, I mean, as parents, it's
Yeah.
really scary to think that you can't even look someone up and trust that, that's enough. Is
It
talking
is.
to your kid really the only way? Like, what can parents do to try and protect themselves?
Well, obviously monitor kids, but conversations. I mean, that's how everything comes across in our job, and what we do is having that relationship built with your child where they feel comfortable enough to talk to you about those difficult conversations. And teachers and counselors, they've done a wonderful job as far as getting to talk to them too, but parents are the ones that see their kids every single day, no matter what's going on. So having that conversation, you can look out for every type of problem you can around your kids, but at the same time, this guy was gaining the trust of that family. The only way this was found out was the child was comfortable enough to talk to his mother about what had happened. Anything else?
The incident happened at the church and at the apartment complex too?
No, we don't have anything that shows the apartment complex yet. We were just worried because that's another avenue where he could have found a victim or family or somebody else to gain trust over the past 20 years. But the stuff that has come forward to this point has been around the church and the other locations across the city.
Does he have fathers himself? Does he have any kids himself or no?
No.
Can you give specific information about the apartment complexes that he's lived at?
Well, some of the details of this we're going to keep quiet, not quiet, but keep as a part of the investigation to filter out information as it comes in.
You know that people living in West Houston and you're like, "Do you know
They
that
are,
place?"
but that's why we want the pictures circulated so people that have had contact with them reach out and have a conversation with your children. And just, I mean, if nothing, don't force it, obviously, but have a conversation with your children. If you recognize him, if you've seen him, if he's been around your family, talk to your children. Find out what's going on and then give us a call on the phone numbers we provided.
Can you give us your first and last name and spell it, please?
Officer Lee Donovan. Lee is L-E-E, Donovan, D-O-N-O-V-A-N.
What's your division?
Special Victims Division, and we work at the Child Sex Abuse Unit at the Children's Assessment Center.